night shift again. It was just me in the store, restocking shelves, checking aisles, and making sure everything was in order before the security rounds. I had been working nights for a few months, so I was used to the quiet. Usually it was uneventful, sometimes boring. That night, I was in the electronics section, rearranging DVDs when I heard it, crying. It was faint, coming from the direction of the restrooms. I stopped and listened. For a second, I thought it was someone on the phone, maybe a customer complaining, but the store was empty. The sound didn't fit. It wasn't someone walking. It was soft, high-pitched, like someone sitting on the floor, clutching their knees, sobbing quietly. I told myself it was probably a kid who got scared, or maybe one of the employees upstairs in the offices practicing some new alarm system. I went back to my work. Then I heard it again, slightly louder, more deliberate. I put down the DVDs and walked toward the employee restroom first. "Hello," I called. My voice sounded strange in the emptiness of the aisles. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. Empty. Nothing but the regular stalls and sinks. The crying stopped. I hesitated. My stomach tightened. The sound started again, this time from the women's restroom. It was faint, but unmistakable. I debated calling the manager, but he was on a different shift and wouldn't be in for hours. My instinct told me to check it myself. I grabbed the flashlight I kept in my pocket for late-night work, clicked it on, and walked slowly toward the restroom. The door was closed. I opened it. Nothing. I checked every stall. No one was there. I looked under the sinks. Nothing. Then I noticed the mirrors. The condensation on them wasn't unusual, but smeared across the glass were letters forming words. "Help me." I froze. My hands gripped the flashlight tighter. I stepped back. My mind raced, trying to find an explanation. A prank? Someone had snuck in earlier? But the bathrooms were locked during the night, and I had checked them at the start of my shift. The crying continued, louder now, coming from the men's restroom. I approached the door carefully. I told myself it was probably a kid trying to scare me. I told myself it was nothing. But the sound, it didn't fit anything normal. I opened the men's restroom, still empty. I scanned the stalls looking for anything unusual. That's when I saw it. A small figure crouched in the last stall, head tilted to the side unnaturally. Its eyes were wide and wet with tears. I froze, unsure if I was seeing things. It moved, not walking, gliding just above the floor, sliding toward me. I turned and ran. My shoes squeaked against the tile as I sprinted out, slamming the door behind me. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911, but the crying followed me. It echoed across the store, around every corner, filling the aisles, louder now. I ran toward the front doors, locked. I pounded on them, shouted for help. From somewhere behind me, a whisper. "Don't leave. Stay with us." I spun around. No one. But the crying didn't stop. I bolted to the janitor's closet, slammed the door, and locked it. I sank to the floor, shaking. The sound was softer now, but moving around me, following me even in the closet. I tried to rationalize. Maybe it was a projection, my stress, something from overworking myself. But even as I told myself that, the sobbing continued. Sometimes louder, sometimes softer, always close, always moving. I waited, unsure how long. Minutes? Hours? I don't know. Eventually, the crying stopped. I peeked out of the closet. The bathrooms were normal, empty. The aisles were clear. I could see the doors, still locked. I didn't know what to do. Call anyone? My phone line went dead. The store was isolated. I had to get out. Slowly, I made my way back toward the main floor. The crying started again, but this time it wasn't coming from the bathrooms. It was from the shelves, moving as I moved, following me. I tried to ignore it, but it was impossible. I ran toward the stockroom, hoping to find the keys to the doors. I fumbled, shaking hands, the sobbing growing louder and louder, filling the entire store. I grabbed the keys, ran to the front doors, and unlocked them. I didn't stop. I ran outside and didn't look back. I quit that night, never returned. I couldn't. For weeks afterward, I avoided stores at night, avoided bathrooms. But the crying, it followed me. Every restroom I passed, every public bathroom, I could hear it faintly at first, just soft sobs, like someone calling out to be rescued. Then it grew louder, urgent, begging. I told myself it wasn't real, that it was stress, but I still see it sometimes in the mirrors. Small figures crouched, head tilted, wet eyes staring at me. They move in the reflection when I don't move. Sometimes, when I walk past a bathroom door, I hear them call my name. I've tried to avoid it, but I can't. It always comes back. Last night, I got a text from a coworker. She's on the late shift now. You'll never believe what I just heard in the store. The crying. It's back. I don't know what to do. I don't want to go back, but I know it's not done. Whatever is in those bathrooms, it's waiting for someone. And if it calls your name, I don't think you can leave. I couldn't stop thinking about her text. My coworker, Jenna, had been the one working the late shift the night after I quit. Her message was short, but it made my chest tighten. You'll never believe what I just heard in the store. The crying. It's back. I stared at my phone for a long time, unsure what to do. My hands shook as I scrolled through the text again. The store, the crying, my gut twisted. I knew I couldn't ignore it, even though I didn't want to go back. But I also knew I had to. I needed to know if it was real, and if Jenna was in danger. I drove to the store that night, the streets quiet. I parked at the side a block away and watched. The security lights flicked on, but the front doors were empty. Jenna's car wasn't there. That was strange. She was always punctual, always careful. But I convinced myself she had left. I stepped inside. The store smelled normal, like cleaning products and dust. I called her name softly. No answer. The crying started almost immediately, faint at first, like a whisper, then growing steadily. It came from the bathrooms, just like before. I ran toward them. The doors were unlocked, like someone had been there recently. My flashlight caught smudges on the mirrors, but there were no words this time. I stepped inside cautiously. The crying stopped. I held my breath. Then I saw her. Jenna. She was crouched in the last stall, her head down, shaking. Her uniform was wrinkled, her hair messy, and she was crying quietly to herself. I rushed forward. "Jenna, are you okay?" I called. She looked up at me. Her eyes were wide, terrified. She whispered, It's back. I heard it. I couldn't leave. I tried to lock the doors." I stepped closer. "It's okay. I'm here. We'll get out of here." She shook her head. "No, it won't let me. It's in the bathrooms. It watches. It follows. Before she could finish, the crying started again. It was all around us, echoing from every corner. Not one voice, but many. High-pitched, low, desperate. We both froze. I gripped her arm. "We're leaving. Come on." She didn't move. She was staring at the mirrors. I turned to look. Something was moving in the reflection. Figures. Small, crouched, their heads tilted unnaturally. Pale, wet eyes staring at us. The crying grew louder. Jenna screamed. "It wants me!" She bolted, running toward the aisle, trying to get away from the bathrooms. I ran after her. The crying followed, louder than before, wrapping around the aisles, pressing us forward like a weight. She tripped near the electronics section. I reached for her, but she fell. I grabbed her hand and tried to pull her up. The crying became deafening. And then, silence. She looked at me. Her face was pale. "It's gone," she whispered. I thought maybe we had escaped, but then she pointed behind me. I turned, and in the reflection of the glass cases, I saw them. Figures, crouched, like the ones in the bathrooms, their heads tilted, eyes wet and unblinking. They moved closer. I yelled, "Run!" and we bolted for the front doors. They weren't locked this time. We pushed them open and stumbled outside. For a second, I thought we had made it. The night was quiet. No crying. Nothing. Jenna leaned against my car, breathing heavily. I reached for her hand. "We're safe now. Let's go home. Call the police tomorrow. Everything will be fine." She shook her head. "No. It's still in me. I can feel it. It won't leave." I didn't understand. I wanted to argue, to tell her she was imagining things, but her eyes, they weren't right. There was a hollowness in them, like the life inside her had dimmed. Suddenly, she whispered, almost to herself, "It wants me. It's calling me back." Before I could respond, her body stiffened. Her head tilted unnaturally, like the figures in the bathrooms. She turned, moving toward the front doors as if she didn't know where she was going. I grabbed her arm, but it was like she was suddenly stronger, pulling away. "Jenna, stop!" I shouted. The crying started again, faintly at first, then louder. I realized it wasn't coming from the store. It was coming from her. The sound was inside her. She began sobbing violently, more than a human should be able to make. My ears rang and I covered my head. Then she fell to her knees. Her hands clawed at her face. The crying intensified, and I could see her body begin to contort. The tilt of her head, the way she crawled toward the curb, it wasn't natural. I reached for her one last time, but she jerked violently and disappeared from my grasp. I stumbled back, screaming her name, but she was gone. No footprints, no car, nothing, just silence. I ran to the store, checked the aisles, checked the parking lot. Nothing. I called the police the next morning. I told them everything. They took a report, questioned me, and then said there was no trace of her. No one had seen her leave. No cars, no witnesses, nothing. The worst part is, I knew the truth. Jenna had answered the crying in the bathrooms, and whoever or whatever was inside had taken her. I haven't been back to the store since. I can't. The thought of those small, crouched figures with tilted heads and wet, unblinking eyes still haunts me. I hear faint crying sometimes, at night when I'm alone, and I can't stop thinking about her. I know it's waiting, and I know one day it will come for me.